This is Buckingham Palace, the official residence of Elizabeth II, the reigning Queen of the United Kingdom. Situated in the heart of England's capital city, London, it attracts millions of tourists each year, drawn to the buildings and monuments that embody the identity of a nation and its heritage. And nearby is the most important royal church in the country, Westminster Abbey, that's witnessed the crowning of 38 kings and queens. The first was Elizabeth's distant ancestor, William the Conqueror, who reigned over these lands almost 1,000 years ago. The influence of royalty can be seen in every corner of Britain, and has left a lasting legacy in the landscape, from castles and cathedrals to grand palaces and monuments. And within each lie extraordinary tales of battles and executions, romance and celebration. The monarchy of England and the United Kingdom is one of the most famous institutions in the world, and its kings and queens, princes and princesses, royal dukes and duchesses have all played a part in the rich history of royal Britain. The monarchs of the medieval era held the solemn belief that they were chosen and protected by God. But in reality, it was guile and military might that determined who ruled this coveted island. And for the 11th century King Harold, life was one long struggle against those who wished to depose and replace him. Having defeated the Vikings here in the north of England, the Saxon king marched his battle-weary armies south, where a more formidable pretender to the throne awaited him. A Norman duke, destined to become the King of England and best known as William the Conqueror. His massive invasion force had sailed from France and landed here at Pevensey Bay, before being led to this field where the famous Battle of Hastings took place in September 1066. Harold the Saxon king was slain with an arrow through his eye on this ridge, where William later built an abbey to celebrate his victory. Once William the Conqueror was crowned king, he set about building castles, the likes of which had never been seen by the fear-struck people of England. And many of the ruins of these fortresses can still be seen today. William intended such places to instill fear of the new order, and they rapidly consolidated his oppressive hold on the country. Within the massive stone walls, a terrible death by torture awaited any who opposed the king. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, a history of the times, says of the Normans, "They filled the whole land with these castles, and when they were made, they filled the castles with devils and wicked men." The best known and best preserved is the Tower of London. Dominating the skyline at the time, it served as a symbol of the king's power. Within 20 years of the Battle of Hastings, 49 major castles had been built. By King William's death, fortresses were rising up all over the country. And less than 100 years later, a new dynasty came to the throne and a new king, Henry II. An able ruler, he set out to unify the land as well as restore law and order. Despite some tremendous achievements, Henry is best remembered for a terrible misunderstanding which led to a bloody murder within the walls of England's most important religious building, Canterbury Cathedral. To reorganise the criminal justice system of the time, Henry needed the cooperation of the all-powerful Church. As king, he was able to appoint his best friend and chancellor, Thomas Becket, as Archbishop of Canterbury Cathedral, the highest clerical position in medieval England. Before long, a bitter rift formed between the two, and known for his short temper, Henry is said to have exclaimed, "Will no one rid me of this troublesome priest?" Taking his outburst literally, 4 of his knights took it upon themselves to carry out the king's wish. On the 29th of December 1170, they rode out to the cathedral, where they brutally murdered Becket. He was declared a martyr and a saint by the Pope in Rome. Henry sought penance for the killing of his friend by walking barefoot through the streets of Canterbury. At the cathedral, he prayed while monks beat him with branches. Unfortunately for Henry, his problems didn't end there. In the years to come, there were bitter disputes with his wife and 4 sons over territory that extended across the seas to Ireland and to France. But it was an empire that rapidly collapsed under the rule of his youngest and favourite son, John, at the turn of the 12th century. A largely unpopular king, John I developed a reputation as a spiteful and cruel ruler. Centuries later, he was to become the arch-villain in the Robin Hood legends. The ultimate blow to his pride must have been when he lost the crown jewels. It happened here in the Wash, one of Britain's largest estuaries. Faced with a rampaging French army and rebelling nobles, stories tell of King John's lumbering baggage train crossing these tidal mudflats. Pack horses and wagons were carrying, amongst other things, the crown jewels. When the waters rushed back in, the royal treasures were swept away, leaving the king devastated. With his spirit broken, John fell ill and died within a week of the incident. His body was laid to rest at Worcester Cathedral.